Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by early on a Sunday morning. So it's a early Sunday morning chat, I suppose. Couple of surprises at the Orchid Society meeting yesterday. It was their AGM, so it does take a different format. But one of the formats it takes that I didn't know was that they don't have the plant tables at that particular meeting. So I'm really pleased I had a lazy day yesterday and didn't bother packing up all my plants to take along. That was a bonus. That could have been a trifle annoying, shall we say. But nonetheless, I will know for future times. Another surprise was I got another little present. That was first prize for the most number of points in the novice class for the year, and that was achieved by 2 plants. That was all. I hardly ever take plants into that particular Orchid Society, and nearly all of those points were my Dendrobium jenkinsii, which was pretty special. Yeah, so as a consequence, I've been kicked out of the novice class, about time too, really, and I'm now in the expert class, as it's called, so probably won't win anything anymore. Nonetheless, it's taking part, it's not the winning. As I say, there's quite a few people at Orchid Societies grow their plants specifically to win things, you know, and they're concentrating on that at all times. I don't do that. You know, if a plant's suitable to go into the competitive tables or into one of the shows, then I'm quite happy to take it along if I can be bothered. But I don't make a big deal out of it, if you know what I mean. My plants bloom as and when they're ready, or not, as the case may be, you know, and yeah. I got a tedious day today. I'm sort of looking forward to it, but not looking forward to it. I'm going to try and pack up most of the orchids from the giveaway draw today. That is quite a tedious task, because you know each pot has to have some sort of tissue put round the top, sellotaped on to stop all the media falling out, and then the plant itself's got to be carefully wrapped. And then once I've done that as a set, you know, I've got to look at the amount of space that takes up and try and find a suitable box. And then I'll have to, I did say I would put a note inside the boxes with a, you know, a how I look after these plants sort of guide to each one. And yeah, then I've got to do an address label, and then hopefully either tomorrow, Monday, or Tuesday, depends how things go, I'll have to take them round to Postman Pat and get them weighed and get them on their way. And the bit I'm looking forward to is the space that will create, which gives me the ability to move things around, because I've got some things on a shelf and they would probably do better on perhaps a different shelf. And once that space is created, I've got more places to put things, so things that are a bit squashed up can spread out a bit, which was the idea. That was the secondary purpose. Yes, I did want to celebrate 4,000 plus subscribers, although traditionally you're supposed to wait till it's 5. Well, that might not be too far away. Now I'll have to think again what I'm going to do for that. But as I've said, when I get to 5,000, that is a bit special, you know. And as a consequence, I'll do a far more inclusive draw, so that there'll be some prizes spread around the world rather than just the EU. But when it's live plants, I've got that restriction. I can't help it. Those are the rules, and I can only post live plants to the EU. Well, I'm only prepared to post them to the EU because at the moment there are no restrictions and no paperwork required. Quite honestly, getting the paperwork to post plants into some countries is not only tedious, it can take a long time, it can fail, and it can also cost quite a lot of money. So that's why it doesn't get done. There are reasons there, not sort of being selfish or anything. That's just I don't make the rules, but I do like to stick to those in particular. They're there for a reason. Yeah, so I got kicked out of the novice class. It's funny actually, when the jenkinsii, it was the only plant that doesn't take away the points it got in that competition. It would have got those points irrespective of whether it came first, third, or didn't even get placed. The points are there for the plant, yeah, so that would have happened anyway. But to actually win a section with only 2 plants is well, it's quite good, please. And another little item to try and keep clean up on the mantelpiece, but at least there isn't too much silverware on that one. I mean, the good thing with the glass ones is that you can just put them in the washing up and keep them clean. But the silverware is a right pain to try and keep clean, I must admit. You'll have a laugh at this. The society has got a guy who does glassware, and he does quite a few of the awards. He's not been well lately, and I don't know whether this is a sign of being well. I don't know how well this will show, but that's not the world's best engraving, is it? Looks like it's been scratched on with a nail file. Well, I hope the guy gets better, because you know, there's several awards that haven't actually been given to the people that won them, because he's just not, you know, he said he'll do something and get it ready, and then it's just not happening. But I know he hasn't been well, so you know, maybe there's a problem there that we're unaware of. So I think he was supposed to turn up at the last show, and he didn't. But most people put that down to the lousy weather, because the show had to be cancelled and rearranged at the last minute. That took some doing, I'm sure. Anyway, it's a sort of packing up and boxing day today, casually, because there'll be a lot of leaning and a lot of bending, and I don't want to push me luck, so, you know, I'll just do a few at a time. I think I might try and film like packing up one of the groups, because each group's got an assortment of plants in it. You know, there's some mounts in there and some small plants, some larger plants. So perhaps I'll try and set the tripod up and just film packing one group up. I'm certainly not filming all of them. I mean, they were filmed as part of the giveaway, so that video is available for anybody who wants to go back, and where possible, pop-ups of the blooms were actually included in that video. So you know, once you get your box full of orchids, if you go back and find that video, I'll do it another time. But there is a video showing the plants going into the drawer, and also pop-ups with blooms, as you know, for ones that have bloomed for me. Some of them haven't, so I get that organised today, and and then a separate thing, I've got to get my plants sorted out on, well, Tuesday at the latest, to take to go to Malvern. This one's gonna, I was talking to one of the judges yesterday that will be actually judging at Malvern. That's a daunting task. A number of plants that have got to be looked at and everything. I think the judges split up into groups and do, you know, a bit each, because otherwise that, you know, it would take a whole day to do that. But anyway, talking to one of the judges, the plants should be judged on Thursday evening, and from a judging point of view, that's all that really matters. The plants need to be at their best for judging. So my worries about whether some of the blooms will actually last through the whole show till Sunday, I shouldn't be worrying about, apparently. I should only worry about what they're going to be like on Thursday, I think late afternoon into the evening. The judging will take place. That way all the awards are there for when the show opens on Friday. That's the idea. You know, plants that I don't think will last till Sunday, all the show committee have got to do really is, if any blooms start to fade or anything, they can just trim them off, you know, in the morning of the day, so that they look reasonable for the public viewing, sort of thing. So I shouldn't worry too much about that. Plants that are I'm pretty confident are going to go, although this isn't the best looking Tulumnia plant in the world, it does have a lovely spray on. So I'm going to take that Tulumnia in. Because it's a mount, it gives them quite a few choices of where they can plonk that. And also, because this is a species, I'm going to let that one go. Both spikes are now open. There's still one bud to go on there, but as that's a Tolumnia species, that one can definitely go. The Brassia will be gone, so there's no point in that going anywhere. Dendrobium friedrichianum's definitely going to go. This, you can see the difference in the colours. The blooms over this side are a darker yellow than these, which are much paler. These are the latest blooms to open, yeah? So if there's going to be any fading blooms, they'll be in this section, and if a few of these have to be trimmed off, that still leaves quite a spectacle. So that one can go. They'll have fun with that, because it's you tend to just look at blooms when I'm filming, but if I can get round the other side and actually have a look at the plant, if the Brassia will untangle itself, it is a large plant with canes pointing upwards and a large mount. So there, they'll have fun with that. I had a few mealybugs up on the top growths yesterday, so I gave that a spray when I watered it. Because if it's got bugs on it, it'll get disqualified. It won't even get put in the show, so I've got to watch my step. And the wedding bells can definitely go. Again, it's been open a little while, so it's probably a little bit past its absolute best, but it's still a good show. So that one can go as well. There's not much else. My hardy orchid, which let me see if I can, if I zoom it's going to focus on the shade netting, but it's outside and I can't be bothered to go out and get it. But in through the netting there is my hardy orchid, which is its common name is a leopard marsh orchid, but it's a variant of the southern marsh orchid. That's got 5 spikes on it, and the lower blooms on the spikes are now starting to fade, but again they can just be trimmed off and leaving the good ones. And I'm thinking of letting the Disa go. I mean, it's got 2 blooms open here. There's plenty more buds to come on that spike, and there's more buds on that spike too, and another spike with buds on, so it's not at its peak. And I don't know the rate at which the rest of the blooms are going to open, but it's Sunday today. There's 4 more days to go before that will be in the, you know, the competitive bit. So I think I might let them have that. I got a feeling their theme is going to be the seaside theme again, although they could have changed their flipping mind, you know, which means it's based on like a little cottage on the coast with sand dunes and things like that. So the more native looking orchids there are in the display, the more it will set it off, really. Big blousy tropical ones on an English coastal cottage garden are not going to look that good. But if that's what they're going to do, so be it. Shelob Tolkien can definitely go. I mean, that's got... I'm not sure how far away that spike is from opening. It's probably going to be open during the show, but the fact that it's got 3 spikes already open, you know, that'll go in okay. Oh, and you'll be what I discovered yesterday, watering properly the Vandas up here. This one has the bright orange flowers. There's a second spike coming up on the left hand side, and the one with the pegs on weighing down the huge spike up there, that's the big white one with the deep purple lip. That's also got another spike starting. So, you know, there'll be a nice succession of Vanda blooms on those 2, and the one that got damaged a bit in the winter, that's also got a spike coming. So all 3 Vandas are, you know, going to bloom soon. In the Vandaceous category, I've got these 2 ugly mothers. These are Ranco Stylus Gigantea, and they've never looked good. They've got badly desiccated leaves, which will probably drop in the not too distant future. The one at the back has grown a new leaf in the winter, not brilliant, and is now growing another one. And it's got a few roots that are new in the basket, but they don't do well for me. One of them has bloomed once, the other one has never bloomed. And why I put up with looking at those 2, I really don't know, because they are ugly. And the other Vandaceous one is my Rhynchoridis Bangkok Sunset, which has produced a few new roots. It's produced lots of new leaves. It's a good plant, but it was in bloom when I got it, and it hasn't done it since. So I'm looking to that to actually bloom sometime during this growing season. There's no reason why it shouldn't. It's a healthy plant. It hasn't got the best root system, but it has grown some new ones. What other ones do I class as vandaceous? There's a strange thing that I can never remember the name, and my Dimorphorchis lowii. This is a vandaceous type. This is looking okay. It's produced a new root recently, which is heading off down into the media, which are good, and it has got, you know, some reasonable roots down in the pot. It's not bad. Latest leaf is a nice size. Some slight coloration from the light, and I'm happy with that amount. I don't want it getting any worse, but it does live up in the roof. It does get very good light, and it gets watered frequently this time of year too. But it's growing, you know, it's going to be slow progress, that one. I might not even be in this world by the time that gets to blooming size. It's a long wait, that one. But, oh, and while I'm up here, is this the one? Because I'd handled all the plants yesterday, I was actually having a good look. Yes, this is the one. This is the Orchid with no label. This has got spikes coming out. There's a spike at the base looking at it from the top, and underneath that top plant there's another one coming out of the base, and possibly a third. And the other plant looks like it's got one. Yeah, so yeah, that's pushed out quite a few new roots recently. Lovely big strong root tips coming on. This is the only Orchid that I've got that's classed as a highlight plant. That's why it lives up in the roof. Even though it's got its back to the brightest light, it lives up there. So there should be some blooms on that one soon. That has bloomed before. That's the one that was the plant with its bloom spikes was stunning. Took it into the Orchid Society and they refused to judge it on the grounds it's two plants, not one. And the bloom spikes were on both plants at the same time, so it couldn't be judged. And on top of that, it really objected to travelling in the car and being in a warm, dry environment for a whole afternoon and coming home in the car again, and it promptly dropped all its blooms the next day. So if that blooms this time, it's going nowhere. You know, those blooms were only out like 4 or 5 days, and they should have lasted quite a few, you know, at least 2 weeks, probably 3. So, you know, I lost my blooms on that last time round. So that's not going anywhere. What else did I see buds on somewhere? Oh, this other Orchid, just while I'm on Orchid, this is probably my healthiest plant. This has grown new plantlets out to the side, which are growing on at a hell of a rate of knots this year. And this is my non-blooming one. This is Mysticidii. This one's never bloomed for me, but the plant is really pushing on at the moment. I thought I just saw a spike that's a root, but the plant is looking good because it's now not one plant. It has one base to it. Don't get me wrong, not like the other one that's 2 entirely separate plants, but you can see the different crowns going on here. There's 1, 2, there's at least 3 crowns going on that now, so that's pushing on well. But a non-bloomer so far. I have to work on that. Good morning. Where have you been? Hey, where have you been? Hey, where have you been? What have you been doing? It's the only time he ever comes in here is if he's been out and comes back in and I'm not in the house, I'm out here. And then he comes out, walks around, turns around and goes out again. Neither of them stay in. These blooms are going to go soon now. They're changing colour rapidly. They're getting a much deeper yellow. So the 3 blooms on the Phalaenopsis Sweet Memory will drop soon. But as I noticed the other day, we got buds coming, branching on branching going on here. And it looks like the main stem's extending. So there'll be some more blooms in there soon. So yeah, quick Sunday morning chat about stuff going on, things to do and all things like that. And as I say, I will try and set the tripod up and film packing up some of the plants and getting them into their box ready for shipping. I've had contact from 4 of the group winners now. Another one came in overnight. Well, was there this morning anyway. And so that just leaves one outstanding at the moment. So I've still got Group 3's winner still hasn't made contact. So, but you know, still the rest of today and all of tomorrow. Not sort of giving up yet. I'm going to allow the time, as I sort of said, and yeah, we'll go from there. And then as fast as I get rid of one lot in a load of boxes, I've got to pack another lot up in a box ready to go to Malvern. Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good show. Meet up with a few people and all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you next time.